Hey there, little G's. It's Papa G one more time. And we're going to go ahead and finish up our sugar skull. Now, where we left off is we created the eyes, we created the teeth. And of course, we started off with our outline of a sugar skull. And the last thing that we added were the two little black lines. Here are black shapes that kind of created the jawline. Now, the last thing we're going to do is just kind of give it some ornamentation. Now, this ornamentation is really just to decorate it. And what makes this special, or what makes this different from any other uh, artwork, is how you add this in. Now, what we're going to do is, just like we've done before, we're going to start a new layer, and we're going to make a couple of flowers. Now, the flowers that we made before were kind of unique, where we had concentric shapes going inside, trading off black and white, and culminating with a black dot here for the eyes. And we're going to do something a little bit different for the decoration flowers that are going around it. So I've started a new layer, and that layer is going to be another flower, and it's going to be the same as before. In that new layer, I'm going to go ahead and fill an oval with black. It's a elliptical marquee tool. I'm just going to fill it with black by doing Alt backspace. And as long as you're in a lone layer right here, it only fills up the black in that layer. Now that I've successfully made it, I'm going to deselect by doing Control D, and I'm going to go ahead and copy it or duplicate it by doing Control J. And what Control J does is it takes this one layer, layer 5 here, and it kind of pastes one right on top of it in duplicate. Perfect. And you can't even see it, of course, because it's hidden behind the original. So now the layer of the copy here is selected. I'm going to go to my move tool here, and I'm going to do Control T so that I can transform it. Now, while holding Shift, I'm going to go ahead and click and drag around it to make kind of a cross here that I'm going to merge down so that it merges with the one below it. Control J again. And now that I've got two of them, I'm going to Control T, and of course, holding Shift, go for a nice 45-degree there. Merge that down, and I think I'm going to just kind of stick with that for now. If I were to do another one, Control J, Control T, you would see that it would look a lot like the ones we made before. And I don't really want it to be just a carbon copy. So I'm gonna ditch that and go with this more simple type of flower here. Now, on the inside, what I'm going to do is I am going to Control J and Control T. So I do have a duplicate, but instead of turning it, I'm going to Alt Shift and drag going inwards. I'm sorry, it's not Alt Shift, it's just Alt. And I'm going to make it smaller. Now, you can't see it, but if I Control click in here, all right, I Control click, you can see where the selection is. And I'm going to fill that with white by doing Control backspace. Now I've got a white flower. And what I'm going to do after that, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to do any more to it. Or I'm not going to make any more petals, that is. I'm going to go in here now, and after I've merged it down so it's become part of the original flower, I'm going to go ahead and get my paintbrush. And with my paintbrush, I'm just going to do little squigglies here in black. Now, I'm just using the mouse. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't do that right. I want it to be a hard, or pretty much a hard brush, not 100%, but I'm going to go to around 75% hardness, and I'm going to pull the brush size down to about 10 right here, and I'm just going to do some squigglies. One here, and if you want, you can do these on a separate layer, but I want them all to be kind of different. I don't want them to be just carbon copies of each other. And we're just kind of giving it some flavor, I guess you could say. It's nice, kind of pretty. Now I'm going to start a new layer, and I'm going to this time do the elliptical tool. And while pushing uh, Alt and Shift, I'm going to grow it out from the center, and I'm going to fill that with black by doing Alt Backspace. And now that I like where it is, I'm going to do another one, growing it from the inside out, kind of centering it using my arrows here. And I'm going to fill that with white. So Control Backspace. There you go. Now that I like it, and I really do like it, I'm going to go ahead and merge it down with the original flower. So now it's all one piece and it'll move around together. Now I'm going to take this flower and I'm going to do a couple of things with it. I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to put this flower right here so it's kind of decorating on the chin. Then I'm going to do Control J and take the duplicate up here, and I'm going to make it really larger. I hold Shift and I click, and here we go. Keeps it kind of the same. Yeah, it looks good. And then I'm going to do another Control J and just drag it over so we've got one on each side. After I've done that, I'm going to put a couple of ornamentations here and there. I'm going to do a new layer. I'm going to get my paintbrush, which should still have the same settings on this new layer. And only on one side, I'm going to go ahead and choose the left side here. I'm going to go ahead and just make some squigglies, give it some eyebrows, maybe a mustache, and maybe even something here on the chin, something coming in through here. And it's basically just some decorations, and it looks really bad right now because I've got this all coming out. I've got the, what do you call it, the ornamentation here on the top that just looks really bad because it's on top of everything and it's sticking out on the sides. Now, after we've done this, and I can tell you, I know these don't look great, but what we're going to do is we are going to turn this into a finished product, and we're going to mask all of this stuff out of the way. All right, so now first things first, this right here, I did everything on the left side on purpose because whatever we do on the left side, we want to make it symmetrical and put the opposite on the right. So what I'm going to do is do Control J. I'm going to duplicate it right there. And then I'm going to do Control T so we can free transform, but we're not going to change the size of it. We're going to right click and we're going to flip horizontal. And now I'm just going to use my right arrow on my keyboard to move this puppy over so that it is in the same place on the right side and it is symmetrical. So after you're confident that you've got it the same on both sides, you go ahead and accept your transformation by clicking on the check mark. And now I've got equal and symmetrical decorations on both sides. All right, so now there are plenty of other things that I could do, like circles and dots, but I'm going to leave that up to you. All right, so I've got all of my decorations here, and let's say I'm ready to close this up. I'm done. What you do is you go down to the bottom layer where you have the white. You remember we made a black layer and a white layer, with a white layer being slightly smaller, so it makes an outline. I'm going to control click in the actual thumbnail picture, and what you do, or what it does, is it creates the marching ants selection only around where the white stuff is. So now I'm going to use that as a layer masking tool. How do I do that? Well, let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my move tool, and I'm going to click right here on the chin flower, we'll call it. So I'm going to click on the chin flower. So now I've got the selection, and I've got the chin flower layer selected or active right now. I'm going to go down to add a layer mask. And when you have a selection and a layer mask working at the same time, it will clip everything that's outside of it. So there you have it. All right, so now I'm going to do these two flowers. Well, to make it easy, what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this top flower, merge it down so it's on the same layer as the second flower. Now, I don't have to go all the way down to my original. I can just control click in the layer mask. And as you can see, it's selected, and I'm already got the flowers here active. I'm going to do another layer mask, and now those are cut off. Okay, so now we've got all the weird little squigglies that I put all over the place. I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the flowers. I'm going to right click and merge them down to the same layer. Then I'm going to control click in my layer mask, creates a selection. And with the squiggly, we'll call it the squiggly layer selected, I can now go down here and make a layer mask. And now everything is nice and symmetrical. Nothing is sticking outside. This, my little G's, is ready to be turned in. So be proud that you've created your first Dia de los Muertos sugar skull, or calavera is also what it's called. So now I've got all of this done. All I have to do is push file, save, and then copy and paste it into the Mr. G folder, and you have credit. Now, this, of course, is not the project. This is just a practice. Everything that I've taught you here, you can go back through these videos and review how to do these steps so that you can create your own. And we are going to do a project where you do have to create one just for you, honoring someone that you have lost, or maybe someone you admired who's passed away. That way we keep their tradition and their memory alive. All right, well, little G's, that's it. I really appreciate all the hard work that you do, and I hope you keep learning. All right, take it easy.